This is QTV Nightly News. I'm Mudu Gajaga and thank you for joining us. Here are the news headlines. Governing Council officials of the Gambia Red Cross Society on Tuesday paid a courtesy call on President Adama Barrow at State House in Banjul. The Solo Sandeng Foundation on Saturday premiered a civil rights documentary titled Solo Sandeng for Love of Country in honor of the late Ibrahim Solo Sandeng, a political activist tortured and killed under the Jammeh-era regime. In our final segment of the Alliance Française de Banjul Women Empowerment Project, Dr. Jojon Dur, CEO of Insist Global and co-founder of Afrijula, a business management tool aimed at helping entrepreneurs manage their businesses efficiently, shares strategies to drive change in the Gambia. In international news, the U.S. Embassy in the Gambia is allegedly among the diplomatic missions identified for potential closure as the United States considers a significant reduction of its diplomatic presence in Africa. In sports news, One Love FC emerged victorious in the QCell-sponsored Nemakunku League final played at the Nemakunku football field on Sunday. Those were the headlines, now the news in detail. Welcome and thank you for joining us. This is QTV News. Governing Council officials of the Gambia Red Cross Society on Tuesday paid a courtesy call on President Adama Barrow at State House in Banjul to brief the president on the organization's activities and to strengthen collaboration with the government. Ansumana Isonyasi reports.
This visit to the presidency is part of the humanitarian organization's 33 annual diary, which mandates a meeting with the president, who is also the chief patron of the Gambia Red Cross Society. Following a closed-door meeting with the head of state, Ibu Faye and Fabakary Kale, Secretary General and President of the Gambia Red Cross Society, respectively, revealed that they were at the presidency to update him on the ongoing disaster management efforts and to formally invite him to the launching of a $1.9 million malaria project.
Today's visit was also very special, not only a briefing on updating what we do, but more specifically to extend an invitation to him to launch the malaria project. We have a project funded by the Chinese International Development Agency. We up to the tune of $1.9 million for 4 years, and it's here to support the elimination of malaria in the Gambia.
One of the key issues that we discuss is the position of the Gambia Red Cross in the international world. We've made a lot of progress, being recognized as one of the well-functioning national societies in Africa, with all our structures being in place. And the fact that that is happening in the Gambia Red Cross is placing not only the Gambia Red Cross, but also Gambia government on the international humanitarian map.
Additionally, they also used the occasion to express gratitude to the government of the Gambia for its continued support and collaboration. And while they acknowledged some of the achievements registered over the years, they reaffirmed the organization's commitment to complementing national development efforts through its humanitarian services.
We have talked about so many programs that we accomplished in our two major programmatic areas, that is disaster management and health and well-being. We talked about all what we have been doing for the past years and what we intend to do in this year. We are an auxiliary government. Our existence relies partially with support from the government. Support from the government is critical in not only in terms of monetary aspects, but in the services, in support international and locally. This is something very critical to us.
We also talk about our youth Bantaba. This is one of the biggest youth program, and it's coming in August in Basse, where we will gather 500 young people, and we seek his support and his blessing as the patron for the youth Bantaba.
Founded in 1966, the Gambia Red Cross Society is a humanitarian-based organization that, among other things, offers disaster relief support and first aid services, especially during emergencies. Anspaneso Nyasi for QTV News.
The Solo Sandeng Foundation on Saturday premiered a civil rights documentary titled Solo Sandeng for Love of Country in honor of the late Ibrahim Solo Sandeng. The documentary explains his life, activism, and the ultimate sacrifice with his fellow campaigners. Yafatu Gay has the rest of the story.
The documentary sheds light on Solo Sandeng's life, his determination for democracy and justice, and the events leading up to his tragic death. Ibrahima Solo Sendeng was a prominent Gambian political activist and a leading member of the United Democratic Party. On April 14, 2016, in his pursuit of justice and democracy, Sendeng led a peaceful protest calling for electoral reforms ahead of the December 2016 elections. The demonstration was violently suppressed by security forces. Sendeng was arrested, detained at the National Intelligence Agency, and later died in custody after being tortured. His death triggered nationwide outrage and became a turning point in the fight against Yahya Jammeh's 22-year authoritarian rule. In 2022, a Gambian court found 5 former NIA officers and a doctor guilty of involvement of Sendeng's death, sentencing them to between 5 to 10 years in prison. Fatoumata Sendeng, CEO of the Solo Sendeng Foundation, emphasized the importance of preserving Sendeng's legacy.
During the TRRC, stories were told, people were interviewed, people were interrogated, but Solo's case was in court in the NIA 9 case, and he could not, be mentioned. His story could not be told. So what we thought is that it is just fair for Gambians to know the real story behind Solo's, struggle, his sacrifice, and also show the people he had gone out with, protest and sacrifice themselves, their liberty, their freedom, their health, and everything for the Gambia.
Ida Person, Special Advisor on Transitional Justice at the Ministry of Justice, highlighted the progress made after the conclusion of the TRRC to ensure that justice is attained by the victims and survivors, and also to ensure such incident does not happen again.
Memorialization is one aspect of transitional justice, but there's several other efforts that are going on. The government is committed to justice and accountability issues, and that's why there was the prosecution, the NIA 9 prosecution, for example. It's promoting or ensuring that there's reparations for the victims as well.
Nene MC Cham, president of the Gambia Bar Association, expressed the importance of the documentary to honor Solo Sendeng's legacy.
This is a way of memorializing his legacy, and this is a very important component of the post-TRRC, so that we don't repeat the mistakes of the past, so that the Never Again slogan actually means something.
The documentary not only commemorates Solo Sendeng's life, but also serves as a reminder of the cost of freedom and the resilience of those who dare to demand change. Through interviews, archival footage, and emotional testimonies, the film paints a vivid portrait of a man whose legacy continues to inspire a new generation of Gambians committed to democracy, justice, and human rights. Reporting for QTV News, this is Yafatige.
Dr. George Ndur, Chief Executive Officer of Insys Global and co-founder of Afrijula, is leading a significant campaign in the country using technology, mentorship, and youth empowerment to drive positive change. Osman Jatta tells us more.
In a rapidly evolving world of technology and innovation, women like Dr. George Ndur Tameru are not just breaking barriers, they are redefining the future. With over 20 years of experience in science and research, Dr. Ndur Tameru's journey has taken her from the classrooms of England to the innovative hubs of the Gambia, where she now leads as CEO of Insys Global and co-founder of Afrijula. Her company is at the forefront of addressing some of Africa's most pressing challenges in education, healthcare, and business through technology and innovation.
No one is perfect. I strive for the best by measuring my growth. Why should we limit ourselves to just the Gambia? With Afrijula, we are not only addressing problems here, but also tackling financial inclusion and access to loans across Africa. Youth empowerment is essential. I am proud to be one of the few female tech CEOs in the country, but my vision is to see many more women step into these roles in the years ahead.
Dr. Ndur Tameru has empowered over 12,000 Gambian youth through Afrijula by providing training in digital and financial literacy. At Insys Global, she promotes a flexible, inclusive work culture that attracts talented women, reinforcing her commitment to gender equity in tech. Her impactful work has earned her numerous prestigious awards, including Woman of the Year, Pan-African change maker and a spot in Forbes as one of Gambia's transformative tech queens.
For the last 5 years, Mandama Tegne, we have done a lot.
Over the past 5 years, my team has developed several digital systems currently used by the government. We have created jobs, trained thousands, and proven that local solutions work. Just imagine the impact we could make with more support.
Despite the challenges she faces in a male-dominated tech industry, Dr. Giorgio has successfully balanced her professional journey with motherhood, proving that women can excel in both personal and professional affairs.
Lima def si the last 5 years pour suma dëkk rek ak pour xale yu ndaw yi.
Empowering young women and youth and winning the Pan-African Changemaker for 2 consecutive years shows that Africa is ready to develop. My journey can be a source of hope and inspiration for many.
Her impact extends far beyond business. As president of the Rise Women Network, Dr. Nur Tamiru mentors young girls, guiding them to embrace leadership roles and pursue science and mathematics with confidence. Her message is clear: invest in local talent. She emphasizes that with more backing from businesses, Gambian tech firms can offer youth opportunities that would otherwise be out of reach.
Baax na tamit pour ñeneen ñi support ñu. So leen amee business pour jox nit.
If you are in business, consider offering opportunities to fellow Gambians. This is how we grow. When 200 young people apply for a single job, it's not due to a lack of ambition, but because opportunities are scarce. If we all collaborate, we can create a future where youth don't feel the need to leave their country to succeed.
Dr. Jojandu Tambedu is proof that when purpose and passion align, extraordinary change is possible. Osman Jata, reporting for QTV News.
From that story, we'll now take a short commercial break, and when we come back, we will hear about a leaked report revealing U.S. plans to scale back its diplomatic presence in Africa, including, allegedly, the Gambia, plus a report on the QCell-sponsored Nemakunku League football final.
fii mooy fan fii mooy Inessa di place bi nga xam ne moom la ñëpp taam place bii bépp xeetu ataaya bu baax rek bu dugg see ci dëkk bi xamal ne fii rek la am bara wërga bii neex na lool saf na ba pare tamit nag am gu bu neex boo ko naanee rek da ngay kontaan ci saasi añ ba suur ba gëreesal li nga lekk jëndal baara ataaya bii ndax moom la ñëpp taam gis nga sama client bii ataaya bu neex bu ne moom laa koy njëkk a jox ndax moom kat ataaya bu neex rek lay wër baara warga bii mooy warga bi gën te moo gën a saf kon nag ràññee leen ko bu baax kon daw leen gaaw ca Banjul foofu ca Inessa di place bi nga xam ni foofu rek nga ko mën a amee wholesale wala retail mu ngi foofu ci boori court house bi foofu ca Banjul wala nga daw ci bépp marché bépp supermarket bépp boutique fépp foo dugg rek di nga mën a am baara warga bii nga xam ne moom la ñëpp di wër tey baara warga moo dàq ci warga yi man maa ngi ci moom ndax su ma mënee ataaya moom rek lay naan.
Oryx, with you all the way.
Powered by Africa, Oryx Energies.
Welcome back, and this is QTV News. Today, the 22nd of April, is World Art Day, an annual event commemorated on to demonstrate support for environmental protection. The theme for this year calls for everyone to unite around renewable energy so we can triple clean electricity by 2030. Our Bob reports.
World Earth Day shines a global spotlight on environmental issues, promoting conservation, sustainability, and the urgent need for climate action. Each year, over 1 billion people worldwide take part in Earth Day activities, from cleanup campaigns and tree planting to raise awareness drives and policy advocacy, all aim at inspiring behavioral change to safeguard the environment for future generations. The day calls on individuals, communities, and governments to take meaningful steps such as reducing waste, conserving natural resources, and embracing sustainable practices. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres has emphasized the urgent need for action, warning that the window to protect Mother Earth is rapidly closing.
Every year, millions of people turn off the lights to illuminate the need for climate action. Today I ask that you are one of them. Earth needs you. Human-made climate calamity is here and now. We've just had the hottest year, the hottest decade, and the hottest seas on record. And we've seen historic fires, storms, and droughts as a result. Moving away from polluting fossil fuels, the leading cause of this chaos, towards renewable power holds immense promise for us all. It's healthier, cheaper, and more secure.
Climate change continues to pose a global threat, endangering lives, livelihoods, and the ecosystems across the world. Rising temperatures, sea level rise, and extreme weather events are now a reality in both developed and developing countries. Despite contributing minimally to global emissions, the Gambia ranks among the most vulnerable nations to the impacts of climate change. The country faces mounting threats from coastal erosion, saltwater intrusion, and unpredictable weather patterns, all of which put food security and public health at risk. According to recent climate data, 2024 was one of the hottest years on record, with surging greenhouse gas emissions pushing the planet toward dangerous warming thresholds. Glaciers continue to melt, oceans are warming, and extreme weather events are becoming more frequent and severe. In the Gambia, coastal communities are battling rising sea levels, while once productive farmlands are being degraded by flooding and salinity. Farmers say the rainy season has become increasingly unreliable, threatening crop yields and livelihoods. Meanwhile, seasonal floods are displacing families and damaging infrastructure across the country. As the world reflects on Earth Day, the Gambia's situation underscores the urgent need for global solidarity and climate justice, ensuring that those least responsible for the crisis receive the support they need to adapt and thrive. For QTV News, I am Our Bob.
From that report by Our Bob, coming up next is international news. The United States is to drastically reduce its diplomatic presence in Africa by removing State Department offices, according to a leaked draft order from the U.S. State Department. This will affect key intervention areas of the State Department, such as climate change, democracy, and human rights, amongst others. Jenna Basonko has the details.
This move marks the first global tax on greenhouse gas emissions and aims to reduce the shipping industry's significant contribution to global climate change. Additionally, the IMO set a new marine fuel standard, which will phase in cleaner fuels, further pushing the industry toward sustainability. More than 60 countries led by Pacific Island nations, whose very survival is threatened by rising sea levels, played a key role in advocating for the carbon tax. The tax will apply to ships whose emissions are not in compliance with the IMO's Net Zero Fund, which was established to incentivize compliance with environmental standards. The tax will target nations that fail to contribute adequately to the fund or do not meet emissions reduction goals. Notably, the United Nations did not participate in the London-based negotiations and instead urged other governments to oppose the greenhouse gas emission measures being discussed. This absence marks a significant point of contention, as the US has long been a dominant player in global climate negotiations. The agreement is especially significant for less developed countries who face a growing debt burden linked to climate finance and the increasing impacts of the climate change crisis. These countries, which contribute minimally to global emissions, are calling for greater financial support, particularly in the form of grants, to fund innovative climate solutions. Although the Loss and Damage Fund has already received $600 million in pledges, LDCs urge that more needs to be done to address the loss of resources and infrastructure due to climate change. The Gambia, despite contributing less than 0.01% of global greenhouse emissions, is highly vulnerable to climate-related challenges such as floods, windstorms and droughts. As a nation at the front line of climate change, the Gambia views the IMO's new carbon tax as an essential step toward climate justice and a fairer distribution of climate-related burdens. Reporting for QTV News, I am Jenna Bosonko.
Well, a deep apologies there. That was the wrong story played. Jenna Bosonko reporting about a minimum tax of $100 per ton on carbon dioxide emitted by ships there. But now, going back to the State Department story, the United States is to drastically reduce its diplomatic presence in Africa by removing State Department offices, according to a leaked draft order from the U.S. State Department. This will affect key intervention areas of the State Department, such as climate change, democracy, and human rights, amongst others. Jenna Bosonko again.
The draft order says, and I quote, to streamline mission delivery, project American Strength Abroad, cut waste, fraud, abuse, and align the department with an America First strategic doctrine. All non-essential embassies and consulates in sub-Saharan Africa shall be closed. The embassies of the Central African Republic, Eritrea, the Gambia, Lesotho, the Republic of Congo, South Sudan have been identified for potential closure, along with consulates in Cameroon, South Africa, amongst others. Part of the order is to dismantle the Fulbright program, a U.S. government initiative that provides funding for international education and exchange, that funds research and teaching scholarships for Americans abroad, as well as attracting foreign students to U.S. institutions. This draft order comes after President Donald Trump stopped U.S. aid affecting different sectors of the world, especially the health sector. For example, funding cuts to HIV and AIDS programs in 55 countries around the world, including many African countries, could lead to hundreds of thousands of deaths, health experts and aid organizations have warned. Secretary of State Marco Rubio said the New York Times, which first reported the existence of the draft order, had fallen victim, which implies the document is fake news. However, as President Donald Trump intensifies his tariff war and aid cuts, many believe that where there's smoke, there's fire. As events continue to unfold, it remains to be seen whether the Trump administration will follow through with these actions under the banner of America First. Reporting for QTV News, I am Jenna Bosonko.
Now to sports news. In a highly anticipated showdown that drew fans from across the community, One Love FC emerged victorious in the QCell-sponsored Nemakunku League final played at the Nemakunku football field on Sunday. Pakaba Suso reports.
In a thrilling football match that delivered an electrifying football fiesta, chances came fast and wide from all directions, keeping fans on the edge of their seats. Football enthusiasts were passionately cheering on their respective teams in a vibrant display of community spirit. The match was graced by the presence of football stakeholders in the country, including renowned football administrator Sadibu Kamaso, president of the Gambia Sports Journalists Association Omar Jaju, and the former Gambia international Mamadou Zeko Sise, among others, adding prestige and significance to the occasion. The game came alive just 2 minutes in when forward Musa Jase struck early to hand One Love FC the lead. They had opportunities to extend their advantage before the break, but failed to make their chances count. Gamster FC, sticking to their trademark possession-based style, carved out moments of their own. Nikiru Bojang and Abdullah Bah both went close, but their headers from set pieces flew high over the crossbar. The intensity, tenacity, and hunger from both sides escalated after the break. Both teams had plenty of chances but could not convert them. As the final whistle blew, fans poured onto the field in jubilation, celebrating their team's hard-fought triumph. One Love FC's Aliu Jaju was named player of the tournament, while Matar Juve, also from One Love FC, earned the accolade of the goalkeeper of the tournament. Sheikh Omar Manga of Middleby FC claimed the leading goal scorer award, and Aliu Jallo of Yongo FC was honored as the youngest player of the tournament. Winners One Love FC walk away with a giant trophy and a cash prize of $30,000, while Gamster FC, as runners-up, received $20,000. One Love's head coach, Abdoulaye Ba, was a happy man, celebrating his team's hard-earned victory. On the other hand, Gamster FC's coach Omar Jame expressed his disappointment.
I'm emotional right now because I'm very happy. This is the first time in the history of Nemakungu football. You won both league and knockout unbeaten. This is the first time in history.
Due to lack of concentration, we could have even equalized. You can see that we have just created a lot of chances. But due to lack of concentration, that we couldn't capitalize on our chances to score. Unfortunately, the chances they have, that's what they scored.
The chairman of the Nemakungu Sports Development Committee, Alhaji Ba, praised QCell for its immense support in the development of football.
I have to thank QCell for bringing their people and every year bringing jersey for the teams that participate in the final.
The 2025 QCell-sponsored Nemakungu League final was named in honor of the legendary Gambian referee Bakari Papa Gassama, recognizing his remarkable contributions to the sports and his outstanding career in officiating. Reporting for QTV News, Pakaba Suso.
Now, before we end this news bulletin, here is a recap of our main news headlines. Governing Council officials of the Gambia Red Cross Society on Tuesday paid a courtesy call on President Barrow at State House in Banjul. The Solo Sandeng Foundation on Saturday premiered a civil rights documentary titled Solo Sandeng for Love of Country in honor of the late Ibrahima Solo Sandeng, a political activist tortured and killed under the Jammeh-era regime. In our final segment of the Alliance Française de Banjul Women Empowerment Project, Dr. George Ndour, CEO of Insits Global and co-founder of Afrijula, a business management tool aimed at helping entrepreneurs manage their businesses efficiently, shared strategies for driving change in the Gambia. In international news, the U.S. Embassy in the Gambia is allegedly among the diplomatic missions identified for potential closure as the United States considers a significant reduction of its diplomatic presence in Africa. In sports news, One Love FC emerged victorious in the QCell-sponsored Nemakungu League final played at the Nemakungu football field on Sunday. That's all in this edition of QTV News. Thank you very much for watching. Join us again at 10 for another bulletin.